What's up guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Nosakhare. Here on my channel I put up sewing, DIY fashion and lifestyle videos. Please do subscribe to my channel. It is absolutely free and you guys will be helping me out a great deal. There is so much more amazing content coming up really soon, so definitely do subscribe and thank you. So in this video I'll be showing you how to make a fabric face mask with a filter pocket and a nose wire. So if you're interested, please keep watching. Here I have a regular A4 paper and I'll be working lengthwise. I'll begin by drawing a line on the left of my paper which will serve as my guideline. And next, from the top of that guideline, I am drawing a 12 centimeters line towards the right of my paper. Now from the end of that 12 centimeters line, I am marking a point downwards at 19.5 centimeters and also marking 19.5 centimeters downwards on my guideline. And next I'll square out both points, making sure it measures 12 centimeters, and then I'll go ahead to square out both points opposite my guideline so that I have a rectangle measuring 12 centimeters horizontally and 19.5 centimeters vertically, making sure you have enough room around your rectangle for seam allowances. Next, at the top 12 centimeters line, I am marking a point at 2 centimeters towards my guideline, and on the 19.5 centimeters line, I'm marking 2 points at 7.5 centimeters and 12 centimeters. And next, I'll extend that 7.5 centimeters point 2 centimeters outwards so that now I have 3 points, and I'll go ahead to connect those 3 points with a curved line. Next, I'm marking downwards from the top of my guideline 4 centimeters and connecting that 4 centimeters to the 2 centimeters point on my top 12 centimeters line. Next, I'm marking downwards from my 4 centimeters point 6 centimeters and connecting that with a faint straight line to the 12 centimeters point on that 19.5 centimeters line. Now I'm marking the midpoint of that line and extending that point by 0.3 centimeters outwards, and then connect the 3 points with a slight curve. Next, at that point, I am marking down 2 centimeters, and from the bottom of that 19.5 centimeters line, I am marking up 1 centimeter, and at the bottom 12 centimeters line, I am marking a point at 8 centimeters towards the guideline. And next, I'm connecting that 8 centimeters point to the 2 centimeters point. Next is to find the midpoint of that line and extend that point by 1 centimeter outward. Now we want to connect that 1 centimeter point to the end of that diagonal line. And then connect both points of the diagonal line through that 1 centimeter point with a curve. Now our pattern is complete. Next, we want to go ahead and add a centimeter seam allowance to all edges on both pieces, except for that straight edge on the bottom piece where I have labeled unfold, because we'll be cutting that on the fold and we'll want to omit that. Also want to make sure that the seam allowance on the straight edge of that top piece is drawn at an angle, and then we go ahead to cut our pattern out. Now this is what your pattern should look like, and for the sake of this tutorial we will label the top piece A and the bottom piece B. The materials needed to sew these marks are both pieces of your cutout pattern, a face fabric and a lining fabric, 2 pieces of elastic, each measuring 26 centimeters, and lastly a flexible wire for the nose. First we cut out our pattern out of fabric. We want to go ahead to fold our fabric twice in such a way that we have right sides facing each other on the first fold and wrong sides facing each other on the second. And then we place our first piece labeled A on our fabric and cut that out. Moving on to the second piece labeled B, we want to take our fabric and also fold it just like we did the first, and place the straight edge of B labeled unfold on the folded edge of our fabric and cut it out. For our filter pocket, we want to take that lining fabric, fold right sides facing each other, and place our first pattern piece, piece A, on that fabric and cut out. Lastly, we need to take off 3 centimeters away from that straight edge of our lining fabric. So here I am just measuring out my 3 centimeters from that straight edge, and then I'll go ahead to cut that off. These are the pieces you should have. A pair of B, each piece cut on the fold out of the face fabric, right sides facing each other. 2 pairs of A cut out of the face fabric, right sides facing each other. A pair of A cut out of the lining fabric with 3 centimeters taken off that straight edge. Now we want to take these 3 pieces and sew them down the curved edge, which is the center front, at a centimeter seam allowance, and go ahead to notch our seam allowance so it can turn easy. Now this is what it should look like after sewing and notching your seam allowance. Now we set those 2 face pieces aside and work on our lining piece. We want to go ahead and fold that straight edge of our lining piece at a centimeter seam allowance twice. That means we're folding in 2 centimeters seam allowance, and then we go ahead to stitch that down. And we want to repeat that on the other side of the lining piece. Now this is what it should look like after sewing both edges of your lining piece at 2 centimeter seam allowance, folding twice at a centimeter seam allowance. Now we want to take 1 piece of A and 1 piece of B. Find the seams that go at the chain on both pieces and place them right sides facing each other, just like I'm doing right now. And then you go ahead to sew that down, and that is for the first face piece. And for the second piece, you find the part that goes on the chin like I've shown here. Take your lining piece and also find the part that goes on the chin, but now you are placing your lining piece wrong side to the right side of that face piece. Connect them first. Now I'm just using pins to connect both pieces, just to keep both pieces in place. And then you take B and find the seam that goes on the chain and connect it to that seam that goes on the chain on A. And then you go ahead to sew that down. Now at this point, this is what you should have. One piece should have A, B and your lining piece, and the other should have just A and B. Next, you want to go ahead and connect both pieces right sides facing each other, making sure you match up the seams. Now I'm just pinning that in place to make things easier. Now moving on to the edge on both pieces, you want to make sure you fold in that edge that was cut on an angle earlier on. This will make things neater and easier for you to work with. So please do not skip that step. Make sure you fold that 1 centimeter seam allowance at the edge of both pieces, on both edges as well. You want to do that at all 4 corners of this piece we are working on right now. Also, you want to make sure you're folding those corners to the same side. Now I'm just going to speed things up and show you how things should look like before you go ahead to sew. This is what it should look like. Your edges on both sides should be folded in by 1 centimeter to the same direction, and all your seams should match up. So what you want to do is to sew the top and bottom seams, leaving the side seams unsewn so we can turn it inside out later. Now I have sewn and notched my seam allowances. As you can see, you want to also do same. Next, we want to add our flexible wire to this piece. Now you want to go ahead to measure your flexible wire. Mine measured 10.5. You want to go ahead and take the midpoint of that measurement and place that at the center seam of the top edge, and then place pins at the beginning and end of that measurement so you know where your flexible wire should start and stop. point. Next, you want to place your flexible wire in between the seam allowance that is your measurement. And then what you want to do is to stitch that close and closing that wire in between the seams. Now that that is done, it should look like this. Now you want to go ahead and trim down your seam allowance where you placed your wire, and then snip at the corners of your side seams to make it easier to turn this piece out. Now we just want to turn this marks inside out through the side seams, so we have the right sides facing out. And you want to make sure that when this is turned, you have clean finish on both the inside and the outside of the marks. That is how you know you've turned this the right way. Alright. At this point, this is what you should have: a clean finish on both edges, and also the inside and the outside of your marks should be finished. Next, we want to add our elastic to this marks. What you want to do is take one end of one elastic and place at the top of one edge of the marks and place a pin there. And then take the other elastic and place at the bottom of the same edge and also place a pin there to keep both elastic in place. Then you cross both over to the other side and match up where the elastic was placed on the first edge. That means the elastic at the top of the first edge should be placed at the top of the other edge, and the elastic at the bottom edge of one side should be placed at the bottom edge of the other side. Now that the elastic has been secured in place with pins, this is what you have. Yours should be looking like mine right now. And then what you want to do next is to sew down the edge where you place the elastic, both edges of course, and then you go ahead to top stitch at the top and bottom of your marks. And that is it, guys. So there you have it, guys. This is the finished product and our marks is ready to wear. We've come to the end of this tutorial, guys. Try this pattern out, and if you do try it out, let me know what you think by leaving a comment in the comment section below. If you stay true to the end of this tutorial, you're amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Like and share this video if you found it helpful, and before you leave, hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell icon so you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Till I see you in my next. Bye, guys.